From the sports desk now, we as the sports department are also remembering Tata Nelson Mandela. We're remembering his love for sport. It was incredibly amazing, but more than his love for sport was his love for the sport of boxing. Now I'm joined by another knockout expert of his own who worked with Tata Madiba in many projects down in Cape Town. Now, while millions of South Africans were celebrating the release of Tata across the country, boxing legend and former champion Nika Khumalo was involved in a bout on this very day 30 years ago with Mexican champion Ramiro Lozano. He joins me now in studio. Tata Khumalo, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Talk to us about this day 30 years ago when everybody across the country was waiting with bated breath to see Tata walking out of Victor Verster down in Cape Town. But you had an important bout that you were involved in. You had a Mexican that you had to go deal with up here in Johannesburg. I mean, just talk to us about that day and what was the highlight for you?
That day, most of the sports were cancelled or postponed the whole of that week. But mine, unfortunately, was not. And I had to fly to Joburg, and everything was happening in Cape Town. And I wanted to see Mandela. We were waiting all the years for Mandela. People died, for trying to get Mandela out of prison. My grandfathers, they were there, and they passed on because waiting for Mandela. So now I had to go for a fight in Johannesburg. So my mind was in Cape Town, but I needed to honor my sport, And fortunately, Mandela loved the sport. It was good for me to fight in that day.
Not only did you honor the sport, but you even honored Tata by making sure that you wrapped that entire bout in 1 minute 35 seconds, the very first round, and you were done and dusted with Lozano. I mean, what was going through your mind? Obviously, the focus on that day was the bout itself, but what exactly was going through your mind, so much so that you were done in 90 seconds or just over 90 seconds?
The celebration. Everybody was celebrating, people were preparing, people there was a march from the township to the town, it was about 35 kilometers march, so I was looking forward to that march, and then to see Mandela. I mean, we knew that when he was sentenced in 1964, when I was born, I never saw one picture of Mandela. So I wanted to see his face on that time, So the preparation, the joy of that day, I knew that I would miss it when I'm going to Johannesburg,
Bab Khumalo, Tata inspired the 1995 Rugby World Cup team to the title, 1996 Bafana Bafana to the AFCON title. I mean, as a former champion in the sport of boxing, and he as a lover of boxing himself, when you and he were to look 30 years on at the state of boxing in this country, what do you make of it?
Well, he came with a different atmosphere. We were like angry, that he spent all his time in prison. And he came differently. He came and honor rugby, something that we never touched in the sport. We were never taught how to play rugby. Only the Eastern Cape was better, in rugby. The Western Cape also was doing fine in rugby, but I'm saying that it was not a sport for blacks, So, but Mandela came and honored it, So. To me, if I reflect back now, he had all the. I mean, he came with the blessings for us to help South Africa unite.
Bab Khumalo, thank you very much for joining us. That is former boxing champion and a man who, unlike the rest of the country, had to go and deal with a Mexican Ramiro Lozano on this very day 30 years ago. Did so in 1 minute and 35 seconds to make sure that he gets back and celebrates with the rest of the country the release of Tata Madiba on this very day 30 years ago. And that's where we're just going to leave it for sports. Dumelo, back to you.
Well, thank